Caps in Fallout 76, for some, can be hard to acquire, but it may be even harder to understand the mysterious system behind them. In today's video, I will be covering some of the best cap farming methods, how the cap system even works, and delve deeper into everything you need to know about caps. Every 24 hours, or noon Eastern Daylight Time, each player character can sell up to 1,400 caps worth of items to NPC vendors. Each one of your 5 characters will have a separate 1,400 cap limit. This amount of cap will be shared between all vendors, so changing vendors or servers will not refresh that cap limit. There are special timed events in Fallout 76 called Caps Aplenty Weekends, where this limit will be doubled to 2,800. A quick note here, buying and selling prices will scale with your charisma stat. If you have a maxed out hard bargain perk equipped, you will only need to obtain 11 charisma for buying and 16 charisma for selling. Another important note here, when purchasing items from NPC vendors, this will replenish 1/4 of the caps that you spent to your daily limit. For example, if you purchase a 1,000 cap item, you will be able to sell 250 caps worth of items back. I personally buy junk from NPC vendors to replenish this limit. Not the cheapest way to acquire junk, but it's better than having to jump around wasting time looking for it. Make sure to have an adequate amount of charisma points for the best buying and selling prices when doing so, something that I covered in my video, Everything You Need to Know About Perks. This will be incredibly useful in the case of maxing out to 40,000 caps, allowing a player to make back around 10,000 if they have an excessive amount of sellable items. I personally have been stockpiling explosives, aid, and other food items since I started playing. Now, on to the first and most obvious method for cap farming, maxing out your cap daily limit with NPC vendors every day. A perfect option for any player is to sell weapons. Enemies in the Wasteland will always drop weapons that can be sold for a surprising amount of caps, sometimes ranging up to 100 caps per weapon. So equip the Arms Dealer perk and go out hunting and you'll have your daily cap limit in no time. One particularly good strategy for maxing out your daily cap limit that I personally use is doing the event Moonshine Jamboree. If you do this event with a perk card, Butcher's Bounty equipped, it will give you hundreds of Gulper innards, which you can sell as is or cook it into Gulper slurry for an even higher value. Doing this more than once will likely result in you having enough for even a Caps Aplenty day. Another notable event is Radiation Rumble, spawning what seems like hundreds of glowing ghouls, which drop glowing blood, an easily sellable item. For those looking for a more peaceful way to get their daily cap limit, let's move on to some camp-based methods. Purified water can be a good item to sell to NPC vendors, as there's always an abundance of it, from either completing events or farming it yourself. While some players do their best to maximize their space with gigantic water purifiers, they may not even know that the vintage water coolers exist, saving players an infinite amount of space and hassle of powering them. Players go as far as turning a whole camp into a purified water generator. Now, what if I told you there was a better way to do this, without any camp setup, other than a single camp utility? On to our next way to max out the daily cap limit, the Turbo Fert Generator. This plan can be bought from Samuel at Foundation for 750 gold bullion, with the maximum settler's reputation of ally. Definitely a little steep of a requirement for any new player, but for anyone with the requirement already met, an infinite amount of caps is at their fingertips. This nifty little camp utility will generate a Turbo Fert Grenade. Throwing this at any growable crop will instantly regrow that crop. For example, taking this over to Billings Homestead, a capturable workshop, will give you an infinite amount of corn and wheat, which you are then free to sell as is, or cook it into something more lucrative. Now, for players who have no other options, selling junk if you really do not need it. Junk is something that you will get anywhere and everywhere in the Wasteland. If you are not a Fallout First member or a rocket scientist, managing extra weight from junk may be a little tedious. Selling junk to another player will be a much more lucrative business choice, something I will speak more about later. So for now, selling it to NPCs may be a viable option, but only if there's no other way. If you're going to sell junk to NPC vendors, why not turn simple junk like cloth and oil into clothing, to be sold for around 25 caps each, for the cost of only 3 cloth and 1 oil. Many players may not have thought of this, or just might not even agree with it. But you can always jump from server to server, emptying donation boxes for anything and everything to sell to NPCs and players alike. This makes it perfect for other players to donate to players in need of caps. What's a player to do after they've reached their daily cap limit? Luckily, there are many various ways to acquire caps unlimitedly in the Wasteland. One easy way is to hunt cap stashes with the perk Cap Collector equipped. This perk will increase the amount of caps found in cap stashes, doubling the amount at rank 3. Quests, events, and expeditions also can be a lucrative way to farm caps after your daily cap limit. Each quest will award experience along with caps, while the quests that your teammates complete will grant you experience and caps, scaling with your charisma skill. A notable event would be Test Your Mettle, giving 300 caps during the event for killing the Golden Eyebot, and an additional 150 caps for using emotes. And for my favorite expedition, Atlantic City's The Most Sensational Game. This expedition will grant 100 caps for simply finding the hidden teddy bear in one of the 4 locations. Also, every enemy will drop caps and ammo, making it a very lucrative strategy. Now for everyone's favorite way to make caps: selling items at your vendor. Simply build your vendor in your camp, stock it full of things that other players might want or need, and then don't forget to set it to visible to public, so people can actually see it on the map. This can be the best way to generate caps for yourself, if you have knowledge of how to acquire items and a good idea of a price to sell them for. Some quick tips for maximizing traffic to your camp. Make sure your camp is located in an easily accessible area for low levels, somewhere between Vault 76 and the White Springs. Also, make sure that your camp vendor is easily accessible, even outside if you have to, with signs pointing directly towards it for a helpful addition. Having multiple vendors up to the limit of 4 will also maximize traffic, reducing the amount of wait time if your vendor is popular. The biggest factor here usually is having items that players want. A lot of players in the community sell stabilized flux, as it is hard to acquire. Mutation serums are also a very useful item to players. To maximize stash space, I personally sell plans which only weigh, usually a quarter of a pound, and can range in price from 1,000 to 10,000 if you know which ones to sell. If you are unsure of some good prices to start with, I have covered a few options in my vendor price guide video. A quick disclaimer: everyone with an opinion has stated that Fed 76 is outlandishly outdated, inaccurate, and in their opinion, bad. As for accuracy, I am fully aware that it is based on PC prices, as I am a console gamer, but it is based on trader prices, meaning that it is based upon how much people actually want these items for, which in my opinion is a good way to gauge a price. There are a plethora of many more options any player can use, so let me know some of your favorites, because I love reading every single one of your comments. As always guys, thank you so much for watching.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing.